So, I'm going to show you a horse here today that's all probably in his mid-20s. And this is the fourth time now I'm going to trim him. So, he's had a lot of trouble with people trying to trim him. He had to be tranquilized, and a lot of people gave up on him. So one thing I've been doing is keeping his pasture mate in here. And I trimmed him pretty successfully the first time. Second time, not so good. Third time, very successfully. So what I'm going to wait for here, she's going to bring him in here, and I'm going to see how he greets me. And I'll tell you right off whether he's going to give me trouble. So his little sweetheart, Silhouette, is back in the pasture, so we'll just see what we got here today. Thank you. So I want to see how he greets me. I like that factor. The other thing I want to tell you about, and I realized the fact right off the bat when the first time I ever met this horse, is he's got big eyes. Horses that have big eyes should never be a problem. Why this horse is a problem is just because of the way he's been handled. And one thing I'll show you with him is that when you lead him towards you, what he would do is step towards you with the shoulder. That's a defensive move. So when I ask him to move here, right, we're going to move him off this way a little bit. Ask him nice, and now I'm going to ask him to come here. So that's a little bit, so that's how I address it. I touch here, and then I'll touch his foot here. And I'll say, don't load that foot, because that's what he does. That's a defensive move. They turn their head away and load that shoulder. This is what I want here. So this is nowhere near as bad, because I had quite a bit of a fiasco with him the first time. He got quite defensive. And the second time, it was almost to the point of getting to a fight. You see, when they want to get into a fight, I'm not going to fight with them on line. I'm going to turn them loose. So this front left has always been his worst one. So I'm just going to see how well he'll do with that. And if he doesn't, I'll show you how I addressed it, because I addressed it a little bit differently than I would with a lot of other horses. Sometimes you just need to change your own pattern to be successful. Just because you were successful with one horse doesn't mean you're going to be with the next. So I'm going to ask him to lead forward here, but see how he crowds me here? So I'm going to ask him again. I'm going to tell him, don't load that shoulder when you're near me. So just right there, and what I'm seeing right now, he shouldn't be too much of trouble other than that factor. You know, because when I used to address it, he used to get all snotty. And so I'll touch him here and see, does he acknowledge me? See, this is what I mean. These big-eyed horses, and we'll see if he lowers his head, but these big-eyed horses should never, ever be a problem. Yeah, I like that. So I'm going to see what happens. But he used to, when I addressed that before, he used to go shooting off because, well, when I misbehave, someone's going to lunge me. That's what they do to me. But see, I made the correction. He accepted it and didn't take off. And I like this. So I give him a little bit of time. I want to see if his head comes down lower. And if he tips his head away, I want to touch, touch, touch. There. That's the kind of horse this guy can be. Like I said, this was always his worst foot. Geez, by now he'd be scooching off somewhere. So that's all I'm going to really show you, is the fact that I can. You're going to say, wow, there's no trouble there. What's the big deal? Well, I didn't videotape it the first time. But like I said, a lot of people were tranquilizing this horse, and then they either refused to do him if he wasn't tranquilized, or they just gave up on him. I mean, this horse should have been like this for years. All you have to do is realize what it is that the horse is doing wrong, or what it is that the human did wrong with him to begin with. So he is tipping his mind away a little bit, but he's not pulling that leg forward at all. So as long as he doesn't, and if his mind gets too distracted over there, I'm going to touch him on the side and tell him, you need to be paying attention over here. Well, like I said, his girlfriend isn't here this morning, and I purposely had the manager of the barn bring him over so that I didn't have to handle him. I didn't want to greet him. I wanted to see how his mentality was when I greeted him. Certainly I could have greeted him first, made sure everything was okay, make some corrections. I want you to see exactly how everything happened right from the beginning. So, see what I have here? It's not a big deal, and it never should have to be. So much to the fact that I want to see what he thinks of me. See, his girlfriend went out there to the left, and what did he say? No, I'm going to stay with Bill, the good energy man.